That's like 25% more. That's
4,
ridiculous.
3, 2, we're live.
Right. Close. Good evening and welcome to Speak Up, a live two-way cable cast as we wrap up the year with the Davis County Fiscal Court. My name is Kirk Kirkpatrick. I'm proud to be the moderator for your questions that you can call into Fiscal Court at 686-4615. We're also on Facebook Live. Of course, you've got a great vision right there. You're right in your living room on your TV. You can actually text questions or comments to us as well. And the number there is right on the phone. Yes, right on the screen, 925-2067. We have the entire fiscal court here today. We'll begin with Judge Al Mattingly. And Merry Christmas,
Merry Christmas
Judge.
to you, Kirk. And it sounds, by the sound of your voice, you're trying to mimic Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
No, I'm
because
bad.
it sounds like, but that's probably from last night. With
It's
the
been
thing for the
talking
mayor.
a talking week for me, as I'm sure it has been for you.
Well, Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas to you, and all three of the other county commissioners are here as well. Charlie Caslin.
Merry Christmas, Kirk.
Merry Christmas to you. George Wathen.
Glad to be here.
And Mike Koger.
Merry Christmas, Kirk.
So we wrap up 2016. What do you think are were the highlights? There's been a lot going on.
I think one of the highlights is Charlie's sweater.
Well, let's start with saving money. Oh, go ahead, George.
Well, we'll talk about saving money. I'd just like to mention, I think we had a good year. One of our philosophies is to run the government like a business. We've done that. A good example of that is we set out and we took a look at our capital investments, what we had to do. And at the landfill, we just put in 2 new cells, one for the CD&D and one for the regular trash, and spent $2.5 million and did not have to borrow a nickel. And that's important. And that happened because a big part of that, I want to say, is because of the efficiency of the employees out there and the hard work they did, because we built those cells ourselves and saved a lot of money. But I'm proud of the fact that we were able to do that and not borrow a nickel. That's a pretty good chunk of change. And so
that one cell was, 10 acres?
Yes.
I mean, this isn't just a little hole in the ground here. And why is this important? Why don't you remind them, we talk about the landfill and people just think you throw the garbage in the hole out there, but the regulations are such that without this growth and forethought of being able to secure it first and then complete it,
without trying to get into all the details, I mean, there has to be pipes to drain the water from the system. There has to be pipes, different kind of pipes that drain the gases from the landfill. And then there has to be, I think the liner ends up being about 5-6 feet deep because there are so many different, there's clay and then plastic and then rock and it goes on and on. So, and it's a pretty precise procedure to go through, and it's important and it's important to the environment as well as to the community. And one final note on the landfill, and I think we mentioned before, we bought about 200 acres this year that are adjacent to the landfill. So for generations, we won't have to worry about land for the landfill.
And George,
many generations.
And Kirk, we're still looking. They don't make any new land, particularly land that is adjacent to the landfill. We're looking at the possibility of purchasing another 400 to 500 acres of strip mine. And think about where the landfill is. It's on old reclaimed strip mine. So there's nothing better. Back to your original question, why is it important? It's important to the community because it helps hold the costs down for all the citizens in Davis County.
because we're the ones that pay for it.
If you recall, the city of Owensboro used to have an old landfill out south of here, and their trucks would make a round trip. Each truck would load the garbage and drive that truck to 15 miles out to the city landfill, dump it, and then drive it back 15 miles. Today, not one of those trucks drives more than 4 miles. They make the route, they take it to the transfer station, they dump it. County loads it on large trucks and hauls it out the landfill. The city was able, when they raised their fee to $12 back in 2000, they were able to hold that price of $12 for 15 years. And one of the reasons they were able to do it was because we kept the cost of dumping low, but we also put that transfer station in so that they were able to reduce the number of trucks, the number of employees, the maintenance, all those kinds of things. So everyone in this community benefited, and now we've taken that benefit out into the region. Henderson City benefits, Webster County benefits, Union County. We are working with an outfit out of Vanderburgh County now.
Really?
OMU just brought us their first loads of coal combustion residual ash. So I'm going to tell you, it will be years and years and years before the folks ever realize the foresight of the previous fiscal court under Buzz Norris when that landfill was constructed.
Goes way back.
It goes way back. And I'm going to talk about that at the State of the County address, because there are a lot of folks, you know, with everything that goes on in the city and all those issues, there are a lot of folks that wonder, well, what do we get from the county? What do we get for that 13.6 cents in taxes? I want to tell you, they don't realize what they get. And actually and honestly, even while I was on the city commission, I understood the city, but until I came to the county, I didn't understand the operation of the county and the benefits and the constitutional responsibilities that the county has for all the citizens in Davis County.
Of course, the city of Owensboro is in Davis County.
That's correct.
So Davis County is really the top dog.
I would tell you this, that at the end of this year, we will have over 100,000 citizens in Davis County.
Wow.
Over 100,000.
That's encouraging too.
Yes.
With
good
an
news.
extremely low unemployment rate.
Right.
And we'll talk about that too. You know, I think the one surprise, I was in a discussion with a friend of mine that said, you know, they have this huge landfill out here and it's going to last for, you know, just what you already had for 15 or 20 years. It's almost too much. I said, you know, I didn't realize this, but how many people had a new roof put on their house this year because of the hailstorm? And Robbie Hawker was telling me, and maybe you were backing this up, you forget about what do they do with all the old shingles,
Right.
and it was an incredible number.
We built that new CD&D that George was talking about. I looked at it in the spring, and I thought, Lord, this is going to last us for 10 years. If you go out and look at it now, you'll think they're going to have to start building another one, because 99% of all that roofing went into that landfill. The other 1% was spilled on the roads all over the city of
bunch of
Owensboro and the
nails.
county with nails, and I collected about a half a dozen of them.
Yeah,
Okay.
I collected two myself.
How many people have had a flat tire? Have you had?
Everybody.
I had one. Did you not one have you?
No.
You will. Yours the time is coming because I've had
And
it.
if you don't, George, I'm going to throw a handful behind your truck down to.
But you know,
Parking lot.
the last thing I want to say about it, we forget sometimes about the landfill, and that's a good thing.
That is a good thing.
See, if it wasn't being ran efficiently and generating enough money to support itself, then we would be thinking about it, and it would cause us to raise taxes.
Right.
So the good news is, nobody ever thinks about the landfill.
Right.
It's just something that goes on in West County, and it's all good.
It is good.
Well, we don't want to take away any surprises from the State of the County address, which will be at Rooster Booster on January 2nd, 3rd, 4th. Is that right?
Sounds good.
First Thursday.
If it's not, I'm going to be
in
at the wrong
January.
time.
But let's talk about a couple of topical
I'm trying
issues.
to talk Commissioner Wathen or Commissioner Caslin into doing it this year.
Oh, no. I think we all expect the judge to take that role.
I agree.
And you have a new co-star here with Mayor Tom
Mayor-elect
Watson.
Watson will be there, and I'm sure he's looking back. Although, you know, Kirk, and this is a topic for discussion. It really is tough on a newly elected official, such as the mayor or judge executive, to come in, be sworn in, and 4 days later have to give a state of the county or city address. Most other communities do it at the beginning of their fiscal year or at the end of the fiscal year. I'm not sure why we do it on the first Thursday in January.
Because we always have.
Well, but I'm going to tell you, I think we need to look perhaps at changing it.
Well, yeah, I'd talk to
At
Candace
some-
about
at
that. I
some
think that
point,
makes sense,
yeah.
especially putting him on the spot.
It really
coming in
does.
now. Of course, he's an old pro because
He
he's
is.
former mayor
He
as
is.
well.
Well, and he's got this huge staff that Bill Parrish is over there right now working his little gnarly fingers to the bone trying to put
Well,
something together.
I'm guessing the state is, in the state of the country, the State of the Union is always January.
Well,
3rd,
that's
isn't it?
true, too.
And,
So,
and that's
you know.
my guess.
Your question, 686-4615. I heard, well, let's talk about the White Flag Project because it's going to be, we're actually taping this, or this is live on Wednesday night. It's supposed to get down to 14 tonight or whatever. This is a very special community-wide effort and project about the White Flag areas here in Owensboro. And who wants to talk about that? Who's Judge?
I mean, I can talk about Andy Ball, our EMA director, stepped up last year. The city and the county tried to participate and put this on, but county would be doing one thing, city would be doing something else. County would think, well, we don't need to do it tonight. The city would say, yeah, we need to do it tonight. You couldn't get any coordination. And so I tasked Andy Ball to put together a program that would mirror kind of what goes on over in Evansville. If the temperature in Owensboro or the wind chill factor is going to be below 15 degrees in the evening, or if there's going to be substantial precipitation, then homeless shelters that have space will put a white flag out that says we will accept folks in for the evening. If there is not room, they still accept them in, and we work with several of the churches, the Salvation Army, and a lot of folks to take them over to the Patino shelter. They'll go to the Patino shelter, they'll receive a hot meal. They will then, if there's no room, they'll be transported to wherever that shelter is that evening. Security will be provided. We'll provide a constable. We'll provide the bedding. We'll provide some snacks. The next morning, they will be transported back to the Patino shelter for breakfast and a shower if they want. So it's a way to take care of those folks who are less fortunate than us or are down on their luck. And you know, and I know you're going to talk about it, we do so much to take care of the animals in our community, but it really bothers me sometimes when we're raising money for animals and we don't do much of anything for human beings. So Andy Ball was in charge of it. He put it together. Bill Parrish reviewed it, their commission reviewed it, I reviewed it, our commission reviewed it. Andy did a great job. He's got a lot of partners in this community. And I believe we had 2 nights last week, and it looks like we may have 4 or 5 nights this week. We've been averaging 8 to 10 people an evening. Back last week, I know Andy told me we had a family come in, a mom, a dad, and two small children. So I'm glad
these are people that, you know, it's just hard for any of us to comprehend. We have a place to go. We have a home. And this isn't just during the holidays. This is through the entire winter.
Yes.
And as terrible as it is for someone to be homeless, the only thing worse is not having any place to go. So this
and you
is
know, Kirk, there are wonderful St. Benedict's, the Patino shelter, Bullware, and Oasis provides shelter. Friends of Sin, I mean, there are a lot of folks in this community that are providing housing and food and clothing. We have a point in time count sometimes in January where we will invite homeless to come into there. We give them ditty bags that would have personal hygiene items and coats and blankets and a haircut and a shave, and we'll have a dentist. A lot of the dentists will volunteer their time. Right. This community tries their best to take care. I know there are folks out there that think we need to do more. The unfortunate fact is that we, just as I talked about county responsibilities, we have lots of responsibilities to lots of organizations and to lots of folks. But I mean, we have a lot of folks in this community that do a lot for the homeless.
Yeah, we don't want to we don't want to mess them. Because they do it, but this is an emergency, you know,
This is an emergency.
It's 14 degrees outside and and they don't know where Oasis is or can't get on the bus, it's there. So,
Well, and law enforcement will pick them
Yep.
up if they see someone. They'll stop. And you know, last year it's kind of funny. We learned last year we used the Davis County Jail as an overflow facility. Well, we found that folks hesitated to go to
Right,
jail.
I can- well, yeah, I can
you know,
even-
Andy was. I was telling Andy, well, why do you think we've had an increase? And he said it's because we've been
no,
able
no,
to.
the jail. So we won't pull you in jail there, kind
And
of.
David Osborne, I want to thank the jailer. He and his staff responded beautifully last year because we needed their help then. But
Well, you know,
And Kirk, I just want to interject. I know Al gave a lot of kudos to Andy Ball, and he did work on it, but I know the Homeless Council
Right.
and,
Yes.
and all these agencies
Jenny-
were
Jenny Warren, you're not chopped liver, so
Yes.
don't ask me that in the morning.
They were all very active
Yes.
in helping
Yes.
lay all of the process.
We're very
out.
fortunate to have people like Jenny and those that volunteer to make sure that those that are truly on hard times, most of the time not due to their effort, just circumstances. So
All
we
of
wanna
us
thank-
are just a loss of a job or a medical emergency or just any number of things away from.
Well, you
We
know-
got, I just may say too, we got several veterans too.
Yes.
That's homeless and some, for whatever reason. I know recently, I think at St. Benedict's, I was there passing out some turkeys and they had one veteran that had already moved up, getting ready to move into an apartment, got him a job. So, and
To step
they are
up.
doing
Yeah.
good things.
Yes.
So we have to recognize our veterans as well too,
Right.
taking care of
You know, I
them.
think it's here, the first two things we've talked about today, the landfill and the white flag, that both of these projects headed by the county, but city-county cooperation here is very prevalent. And I wonder, if we've got time, I'll get back to it. You all having been with the city, both you, Judge, and Commissioner Castleton, both served as city commissioners, that may have opened your eyes to the different circumstances and ways that you could cooperate.
Well, certainly it does.
Yeah.
I mean, and Commissioner Castleton and myself, we understand the workings in the city. We understand the needs that they have. We understand the city manager form of government over there. And we have, this commission, and since Commissioner Colbert's come on, we have always been willing to partner with anyone where it was for the benefit of our citizens
The
in Davis
city,
County.
other counties,
Yes,
even in
yes,
other states.
yes, yes.
Okay, back to your questions. Abby in Davis County, where can I take old trashed furniture to a county dump? When I take it to the one on Grimes Avenue, they charge me because I live in the county.
They are going to charge you just as the city residents are charged. Everybody is charged, but as part of that $18 fee that the citizens in the city pay, they have dumping
For trash.
privileges for trash, for their sanitation. They have the privilege of taking those things to the transfer station. We will run them across the scale, and then we will turn around and send the city a bill. So the city chooses to pay for that out of that fee. The county does not. She could take it out to the landfill, or she can take it to the transfer station, but she will pay a fee for dumping.
And
those items.
Either location.
At either
And
location.
it's based on weight, so it's nominal compared to
Yes,
what it would cost you otherwise. Richard in Davis County, what is the status of widening Highway 54? As a daily driver, I think the lights, I could have written this one down, Richard. I think the lights from the Springs to the other side of the overpass are not timed properly. It can be 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The traffic in that particular area is always backed up. Well, Richard,
It can be 8 a.m. in the morning.
It doesn't matter the time
10
anymore.
a.m., 2 p.m., or 6 p.m.
where do
It
these
doesn't
people
matter.
come from? I drive there.
Hey, I'm going to tell you that that's the fastest growing corridor in District 2, if not in the entire Commonwealth.
Yeah.
I was in Frankfurt Thursday and met with the new Secretary of Transportation, Secretary Thomas. We talked specifically about 54. We talked about the Natcher We talked about 331, the fast lane project over on the west side out to the Riverport, and we talked about the roundabout. We also talked about
On Fairview,
yes,
the proposed.
yes, at Fairview and Old Hartford Road. We also talked about the bridge that's being designed for Reed Road. You know, the one that collapsed and got washed away, and got a call from. And Secretary Thomas listened to us because I found out that the District 2 engineer, Engineer Wade, got a call from the Secretary who said, we want you to design a walking path alongside the new bridge, because as you commissioners know, we are putting our plan is to put a walking path from the hospital all the way over to Yellow Creek Park, and this would keep us or save us having to put a bridge across Yellow Creek Park. So 54, back to 54.
It's not a county road.
54 is a state highway.
So
it's a huge, huge multi-million-dollar project. It got caught up in what Governor Bevin has called Paul's 50. I'm sitting here, 54 is in the design phase, or if it's not nearing the end, they will continue to fund that phase. When it ends, for the next few years, it's going to sit static because they're not moving on to any other phases because they were over-programmed by almost $1 billion in the road fund. Secretary Thomas suggested, and we are following up, that we turn around and make an application for a grant from the Federal Highway Department for some of this construction money, and we are now in the process through TAC and our MPO here locally of looking into making that grant. Now, when we checked the other day, supposedly the time for the grant was closed, but I told the gentleman I talked to that Secretary Thomas wanted us to do it, so I think the grant time may be extended a little bit. So it's still, I mean, they're moving forward. It's a long project. Moving utilities and buying right-of-way will take 3 or 4 years. Right. So it's not a project that can be done very quickly. I agree with him. I travel that area. Yep. That Fairview Drive.
It's just as bad.
Is a cut through from Old Hartford Road and from New Hartford Road through. And if you look at it, that's probably one of the things that we've talked about Horse Creek Park, and why we're so excited to be revamping it is that park sits in the center, the geographical center, the most densely populated area of the city and county. Well, doggone it, where's that traffic going? They're either going out that way or the other way. So it's
you gotta have it right.
It's a very densely populated portion of our community.
Well, I was just going to say I had a reason to run out that way today and from my home and
you were late getting here.
Well, I was at a library board meeting. That's why I was late coming in. But I went the route Al just mentioned. Going and then going back home, I went straight on Parrish, and I timed it. They were both within 30 seconds of each other, which kind of surprised me.
Right.
But anyway.
Well, Richard, you talked about the lights. They actually do. The state has, the lights are synced, believe it or not, but they can't, even when they are synced, when you have that much traffic on certain times of the day, it doubles back up.
Part of the problem is the traffic spacing. There are spacing standards, and you have an intersection where you have a slip lane going west onto the bypass. You have a lane coming off of traveling west. You have a lane coming off. You have a lane going east. It is absolutely a nightmare. And remember, you've got 400 or 500 feet between those stoplights. So if you got a lot of traffic coming off, once that stoplight goes, try Frederica Street around the bypass this time of night. I mean, it's
Richard,
the same
we've
thing.
All been there. I live in that area too, and what we didn't actually mention what they're doing besides the lights. What the plan is to make it six
lanes
highway.
and a turning lane.
And a turning lane, but you can imagine what that's going to take. And with the 54 TIF and Gateway Commons coming, even though they're going to have a 4-lane highway from about Aldi Grocery, I guess, heading.
Yes.
I need a map to point. It's not going to be easy. But I must say, you just mentioned it, and I'm just thinking, 10 years ago, we would have loved to have had this problem of growth
Yes.
of this nature. Now, we don't like the headaches that comes with it.
Think about this. In January the 2nd or 3rd, I never remember, 2000, we had a tornado hit Owensboro.
Third.
And I went out 54 looking for one of my trucks. My brother was in that truck. I had no communication. And at that time, 54 was a 2-lane highway with a 2-lane bridge over the bypass. Today it's 4 lanes with all kinds of growth, and it's a wonderful problem
They
to
only
have.
had 2 stoplights
Yeah,
when we moved
yeah.
out there.
It's a wonderful problem to have.
Yeah.
But Richard, we're working on it, and we're trying to.
We feel your pain.
We're trying to
I
look in
do.
another direction to get some funding for
We're
it.
running out of time.
Yeah.
You guys are caging up people. Can you get this? What are in the dog shelter? They're now people actually.
We didn't do
locked
it. The
up.
animals took over.
No, actually, I think Nick Gray, who brought some, he stayed there, I guess it was night before last, trying to raise money. Of course, the animal shelter, Mike, give us a quick update on that, especially over the holidays.
Well, you know, at this time of year, we're trying to raise as much money as we can. This was one way, I think they raised about $1,600. At this time of the year, a lot of times our animals are a lot lower than in the summer months, but right now they're about the same amount of dogs and cats, and really wanting people to come out and rescue these animals. And you know, it just takes a lot to feed them and take care of them, and we do have a fair amount of volunteers, and we're always looking for more. And you know, from now to the end of the year, if you need some tax deductions, we'll take a little more money. You don't have to put
Well,
it
not
put
only
it
that-
yourself, you know.
What a great gift to give to your whole family of adopting or rescuing an animal, dogs and cats. And they're actually higher, you were saying, or about as high as they are in the summer, which is the peak.
Yeah.
So this does not bode well for the animals at the animal shelter. And if you're thinking of something good to do, either donating or possibly rescuing one of these animals.
Quickly,
would be
Kirk,
great.
we have taken that shelter, and Ashley Clark has taken that shelter from almost 100% kill to where about 75% of the animals that come through there are rescued now or adopted out. The 25% mainly are cats, and that's because they're just people love puppy dogs. They don't particularly care for the cats. So.
Yep. You just got back from a library board meeting. Any breaking news there, Charlie?
No breaking news.
Okay, that's fine. We've got other things.
Christmas at the park, George.
We're going to get to
report.
that.
Oh.
Let's go in. Well,
Yeah.
before we get to Christmas at the park, I want to wrap up with that. I was listening to NPR radio, and they were talking about the air service in Bowling Green. As you may know, last June, they started a direct flight from Bowling Green to Atlanta. And that Bowling Green is one of our friendly competitors, if you will. And that concerned me. Well, they just announced this week that, I think it was this week, that flight has been canceled because it did not have enough traffic. And for those of you that business people know how important it is to have economic development tool it is to have good air service. And on behalf of the county and Bob Whitmer, these direct flights that we have to St. Louis on Cape Air, my wife and her sister just got back the Allegiant flight. Is that not a dream flight? This is an important investment in our community, and we urge you, if you're thinking of traveling, please look at Owensboro first. It does make a difference. And the fares, you just can't beat the fares, besides getting off the plane and driving home instead of driving 2 hours. Panther Creek Park, they may set a record.
Yeah, we're on course right now to have the highest number of visits in one season. So everybody go out, it's $3 a car. Can't beat it. It's a lot
Many
of fun,
people,
a
you
lot of
get in the
lights.
car. It's kind of like when you drive in and you put all those people in the trunk.
Absolutely.
Remember that?
You used
Years
to
ago?
come with us.
I was in the trunk though always.
And
Kurt?
I want to just ask folks that when they go to Panther Creek Park, it'd be real nice just post on Facebook that you've been out there and encourage your neighbors to go.
Running
That's
a
the way-
contest, running a contest right now. There's a limo and some all that. But Kirk, let me just say on behalf of Davis County Fiscal Court, we want to wish everyone out there a Merry Christmas and a safe and happy New Year.
We sure do. Thank you so much. I appreciate being part of this every month, and I appreciate the fact that this program is produced by Fiscal Court. They're the ones that came up with the idea. They want to offer another opportunity for their constituents to be able to bring forth issues and ask questions. So we hope you have a wonderful, merry, happy holiday season. And for all of you viewing